Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of BTTH the Flame Emperor episode number 85 based on novel. So let's start. Xiao Yan and his party also slowly came to the entrance of the auction house. Just came to the entrance, Zhu Laro also took out 3 tokens and handed them directly to the reception girl. The token in old Zhu's hand just appeared, and some of the girls in front of him also became quiet in an instant. Obviously, they were shocked by the token in old Zhu's hand. "Sir, please come with me." Another girl also took the token in old Zhu's hand, then jumped in with a few mermaids, and headed straight for the interior of the auction. These people actually have the highest standard tokens, and I am afraid they are also the inheritance disciples of the super sect. As for this old man, he can lead them without the token, and I am afraid that he is also a senior elder of a certain sect. In the front, my heart is constantly thinking. Compared to the one just now, this girl is undoubtedly more mature, with a hint of charm that can be freely taken away, and the rabbit ears on her hair are also extremely cute. In addition to this sheer charm, it is a collection of cuteness and charm. In one, I am afraid that it is rare to get such a woman outside. "Sir, I don't know if you're here this time." The girl also had an idea. Just when she was about to say something else, she was unexpectedly interrupted by Elder Zhu. "Little baby, lead your way," old Zhu said softly, but this was the voice in the girl's ears, and there was also a tremor in the depths of the soul. This old man's fighting spirit fluctuates so terribly. I'm afraid that the current King Shenling does not have such terrifying strength. The girl also put away her scheming, and then slowly said in her heart. A few people followed the lead girl into the auction house, and they found out that the size of the auction house is extremely large, and the roads inside are intricate and complicated. Mu Yingying also followed the girl closely, but for some unknown reason, Mu Yingying vaguely discovered that there seemed to be something unusual in this auction. Her slender eyebrows flickered slightly, and she shook her head the next moment. Then, not thinking, "Here, my lord, this is your lounge." After the girl finished speaking, she also slowly took out a yellow key from her hand, and then opened the room in front of her. As soon as the room was opened, a rush of incense immediately spread out. Such incense is obviously not born from ordinary things. It seems that the Shenling royal family is really a big hand. Xiao Yang also secretly said, but he was also shocked by this incense. The next moment, Xiao Yang also looked around. This room has a space of nearly 100 square meters. Most of the spaces have extremely exquisite decorations, tea sets and seats are readily available, and a colorless and transparent energy wall also appears in front of them. From the colorless and transparent wall here, you can directly see the auction center. If you need to auction something or increase the price, just press this red button. The girl also said slightly, "Let's go down." When old Zhu heard the words, he also said slightly, "I wish you the satisfaction of taking pictures." The girl also tried her best to keep a smile and then slowly exited the room. This Shenling royal family is really a big hand. Mu Feng was also secretly shocked. Obviously, the effect of this incense alone is to make them concentrate. Obviously, this incense is also extremely extraordinary, not to mention these expensive tables, chairs, and benches. As for the most powerful one, it is probably the colorless and transparent wall in front of him. Mu Feng also closed the door directly, and then came to the side of the colorless and transparent wall, his eyes swept away, and the huge auction center also clearly appeared in Mu Feng's eyes. It seems that you can see the outside situation from the inside, but you can't see the inside situation from the outside. This Shenling royal family is really smart. One is to protect the privacy of the auctioneer, and the other is to prevent the conflict caused by the auctioneer's direct infighting. Mu Feng also praised. A series of knocks on the door also sounded. "Who is it?" Xiao Yang was also the first to say suddenly when the door of the room was knocked on. "My own person, come in." Elder Zhu also slowly sat on a soft seat and said slowly, "Old Zhu." The door to the room was gently pushed open, and a figure in black came in. Even with Xiao Yang's enormous soul power, he couldn't tell whether it was a man or a woman. However, Xiao Yang could vaguely sense the extremely hot fluctuations on the man in black, and the fluctuations in Do Qi were probably at the level of a 7-star Do Emperor. This should be regarded as your senior brother, B Sting. He is our undercover agent lurking in the Shenling royal family in the Funxiang Pavilion. "B Sting, how's the investigation going?" Elder Zhu also said slowly. "Reporting to my lord, things don't seem to be so simple. The Shenling royal family is not only planning this auction, but also mobilizing the entire dragon-loving legion. It seems that there is some big action against the Medusa family. And the person who was called the bee stinger was also hesitant to say anything. And what? Zhu Laro also realized the seriousness of the matter, and immediately said. In addition to cooperating with Solomon, the Xianling royal family seems to be involved with the Soul Clan. Bee Sting also said slowly. Soul Clan? At the next moment, a trace of doubt flickered in old Zhu's pupils. Obviously, he couldn't understand why the Xianling royal family had a cooperative relationship with this spirit clan. However, these small actions were still captured by Xiao Yang, and the corner of his mouth also whispered, "It seems that the power of this Soul Clan on Duty Continent is also not to be underestimated." Understood, you can go back so as not to reveal your whereabouts. Remember, life safety is the main priority. Zhu Laro also said with a smile. Yes, Elder Zhu. After Bee Stinger finished speaking, he also disappeared into the room. The atmosphere has always been weird. Xiao Yang was also the first to speak. Master, this senior brother Bee Sting. This is what he forced himself. Elder Zhu also said slowly and helplessly. Maybe you don't know the relationship between our burning incense pavilion and the Xianling royal family, because our relationship is like water and fire. Okay, now is not the time to talk about this. When this auction is over, there will be an experience for you to complete together. After Zhu Laro finished speaking, he closed his eyes and slowly waited for the auction to start. Several people heard the words, although they all vaguely guessed that this experience might be related to the Xianling royal family, but their eyes dimmed and they didn't ask any more questions. It was so quiet that it only lasted for a few quarters of an hour. Through the colorless and transparent wall, Xiao Yang slowly saw a woman with an extremely hot body on the dazzling crystal platform in the center of the auction appear. The woman's beautiful eyes glanced slightly, and then a bell rang. Is it finally going to start? With the sound of the bell, Elder Zhu, who had only closed his eyes, also opened his eyes and cast his eyes on the dazzling crystal stage in the center of the auction. With the sound of this extremely crisp bell, many private rooms in the entire auction hall also became quiet, because they all know that this immortal-level auction house is the grand venue for auctions in the entire Shenzhen 3 days. Countless rare treasures are auctioned here, so they don't dare to let go of any information rashly. At this time, there were already countless people in the private room, and each of them sat slowly, the eyes in their eyes exuding fiery heat, and then their eyes directly passed through the colorless and transparent wall, staring at the dazzling crystal. A pretty girl in a red dress on stage. Hehe, everyone. Welcome to the Ferrer-level auction sponsored by the Xianling royal family. I am Blood Rose, and I will preside over this auction. The once-in-a-10-year auction will not disappoint you. I remember that in the immortal-level auction last time, there was a fighting spirit that was enough to make the fighting immortals quite jealous. I don't know that there will be another one this time. What rare treasure was born? Blood Rose also glanced around slightly, and then said slowly. At this time, Blood Rose was standing alone on the dazzling crystal platform, and there was no one around, because this Ferrer-level auction is like this. There are hundreds of quite luxurious private rooms, all participating in this auction. The auctioneers are all staying in the private room. On the dazzling crystal platform, Blood Rose was also standing slowly, and then her beautiful eyes stared at some white barriers in front of her. These white barriers are obviously private rooms for the auction. Blood Rose, you should also know the purpose of everyone's coming here, so let's hurry up and get to the point. Let's get started. At the next moment, there was some dissatisfaction in many private rooms. Obviously, although this Blood Rose is very attractive and hot, their purpose is also very clear today. Auctions. This auction can't actually isolate the sound. Xiao Yang also murmured. These private rooms are designed with special techniques, but this colorless and transparent wall shows that it is a barrier of fighting qi, so it can't isolate the sound. Zhu Laro also smiled and explained to Xiao Yang. These are all good, the price is increased for the convenience of the auction. Mu Feng also looked back at Xiao Yang and said, the auction is about to start. Xiao Yang also suddenly saw the corner of the woman's mouth move slightly on the crystal platform. Everyone must be impatient to wait, so Changwei won't say more. The Xianling royal family auction has officially started. After Blood Rose finished speaking, she is now slowly scanning it. Although the figures in the private rooms could not be seen from the outside, Blood Rose found some extremely subtle fluctuations in several of the private rooms out of instinct. Obviously, these are the winners of this auction. As Blood Rose's voice just fell, a dazzling light suddenly erupted from the crystal stage behind it. The light flashed away, and a pair of jade-colored gloves appeared on the Blood Rose jade hand, apparently to protect the auction item to a great extent. This is the first auction item today. It's called the 9-yin demon insect. A white insect about the size of a palm appeared in Xue Qiangwei's hand. The white worm exuded a slight chill all over its body. Looking closely, the worm was actually covered with some mysterious runes, and it had 9 legs under it. The next moment, Blood Rose also knew that those who came today were all sharp-eyed people, and immediately expelled the 9-yin demon insects from her hands. Although these 9-yin devil insects are from the devil world, don't worry, the origin is clear, and the effect of this thing is extremely special. The 9-yin demon insect can devour all poisonous substances, thus transforming those poisonous substances into a part of its power through the special power of the 9-yin demon insect. These poisonous substances include poison vindictive qi, some deadly poisons. It is no exaggeration to say that with the possession of these 9-yin demon insects, as long as they are not killed instantly by the venomous poison, the 9-yin demonic insect can devour their poison and rescue them. Blood Rose finished speaking, but also slightly he paused for a while, and then let the chubby 9-yin demon worm walk back and forth in his hands. After a short stay, Xue Qiangwei also moved her smiling lips slightly, and said to the many private rooms in the auction, the low price of 10 million gold coins, everyone, please. The private rooms are numbered, and the private room where Xiao Yan and the others are located is 5. The ranking of the private room also determines the ranking of its strength to a large extent. The fact that Elder Zhu can have this private room ranked 5th among the many powerhouses is enough to show the horror of his power. In the number 5 private room, as the blood rose on the crystal platform just finished, the place became lively. 9-yin demon insects. This is a good thing. Mu Feng, who was beside him, was also staring at the 9-yin demon insect in the hands of the blood rose. At this time, the 9-yin demon worm didn't even know that it had been auctioned off as an auction item. The chubby body wrapped in a meeting and rolled on the palm of Blood Rose's special gloved palm, very happy. Although the 9-yin demon worm is a good thing, it doesn't have the magical effect this girl said. Once the poison enters the body, it will cause damage to the internal organs, and at worst, it will be killed on the spot. How can this little guy absorb toxins from you? If this is the case, I am afraid that the poisonous fighting spirit of the poison sect will not be the best in the world. Zhu Laro also said. The master is right. I remember that this 9-yin devil insect was born in the land of the devil. I think this auctioneer should have obtained it by chance. The current strength of this 9-yin demon worm should be comparable to that of a human 4-star fighting emperor according to the records. The 9-yin demon insect loves toxins the most and feeds on poison. It is said that if it is a coincidence, it is enough. If so, you can also cultivate into a human form. Also, 10 million seems a bit too high. Xiao Yang also glanced at the 9-yin demon worms on the crystal platform and said, 9-yin demon insects. I'm rather cute. Mu Yingying also said with a slight smile. Xiao Yang and Mu Feng are also helpless about this. It seems that women have a natural love for this kind of thing. In the other place, in the private room number 4, the size of the space and the things placed here are exactly the same as Xiao Yang and the others, but in the private room at this time, the 2 women also sat down slowly. It was the person of the poison sect who had some conflicts with Xiao Yang and the others. Senior sister, this 9-yin demon worm is a good thing. Although these 9-yin demon worms only have 1 eye, the most important thing in our poison sect is toxins. It's not a bad idea to let these 9-yin demon worms evolve into 9-eyed demon worms over time. No. The slightly shorter woman also said, with a strong interest in her voice. Yeah. I didn't expect that we would encounter such a good thing. Ordinary people only know that these 9-yin demon insects can expel toxins, but they don't know that if these 9-yin demon insects cultivate and evolve into 9-eyed demon insects, they will be like a furnace, and it will also be used for those of us who practice poison-fighting qi. Great supplement. The slightly oversized woman also said. In private room number 1, there are also very familiar figures. Sitting here is the 3rd Prince Xuanmu. 9-yin demon insect. It is said that this thing was quite rare in the ancient times, and almost most of the poisons in the world can be solved. If there is such a treasure, it is also the poison sect to deal with the wild land. I have some confidence. Xuanmu also thought deeply. 3rd Prince, although this thing is good, we still have to keep the funds for the auction of the last thing, and it must not be garish. An elderly man beside Xuanmu also spoke slowly. The old man was dressed in linen clothes, with white hair and beard, and his appearance was very ordinary. What Uncle Huang said is very true. But this thing can still be fought for. After Xianmu finished speaking, He also put his eyes on the crystal platform. In the second private room, Xian Shan and Lao Zhuo also sat down slowly. Old Zhuo, what is this 9-yin demon insect? Xian Shan also asked, because even if they were far apart, Xian Shan could still get the chubby 9-yin demon insect from the chubby 9-yin demon insect in the hands of Blood Rose on the crystal platform. A very cold force was felt in it. Haha, these 9-yin demon insects are rare things. But for us, it's not very useful. The old man also stroked his white beard. That old man, why are we coming to this auction? Aren't we going to the desert area? Xian Shan was also extremely enthusiastic. Obviously, compared to this coveted auction, the place full of crises made him more attractive, obsessed. Hehe, you're just too persistent. The desert area is not as simple as you think, a place full of dangers. And this auction, I heard that there are some incredible things, so I'll take you to see it. He also smiled slowly, but he was very satisfied in his voice. Although his disciple was a prince, he did not have the habit of being spoiled, and he had the enthusiasm like a man of steel. In the private room number 3, a man with a very lean complexion was also sitting in it slowly. If Xiao Yang was here, he would definitely find that the person sitting in the private room number 3 was the one who had agreed with Xiao Yang to go to the desert area. Stall owner. Besides this lean man, there were 2 other people in the private room number 3, one was a woman and the other was a middle-aged man. The woman squeaked out her skirt, which perfectly set off her figure, but the undulating twin peaks on her chest were extremely spectacular, and the other man was just like the average person. The only difference was the conspicuous scar on the man's forehead. It can be seen that the middle-aged man and the stall owner also have great respect for this woman. Leader, this time we found an alchemist. The rank is the peak of the first rank of the emperor, and the soul power has also reached the peak of the emperor's mortal rank. The stall owner also slowly said to the woman, "Oh, it's actually an alchemist at the peak of the emperor's mortal rank, and the rank is quite high. I remember that none of the alchemists in Xian Santian had the guts to go to the desert. Coyote, where did you find this man? How about the details? Is it reliable?" The woman also cast her gaze, which had been staring at the 9-yin demon worm on the auction crystal stage, on the stall owner named Coyote. Reporting to the commander, this person's name is Xiao Yang, a disciple of Funxiang Pavilion. It is said that he was born in a small city on the Xianling continent, and in the previous points looting competition, although he was tricky, he killed the real deal. A twin ghost emperor who is comparable to the human 8-star fighting emperor level. The coyote also respectfully said, "Bang bang bang." The rather delicate teacup on the woman's palm was also shattered instantly. The strange thing was that after the cup was shattered, there was no trace of debris, but only a trace of mist. It seems that this desert area should be very interesting. Go on, prepare things in advance, and leave as soon as the auction ends. The woman also stood up suddenly and said, "Yes, Captain." The coyote responded and left the private room, obviously to prepare something. In the private room number 3, the woman's beautiful eyes moved slightly, and the corner of her mouth seemed to be whispering something. Holy flame. You can't escape this time. The man on the side seemed to notice the fiery heat in the woman's eyes, and then he also said, "Head, these 9-yin demon worms, can we grab them? Although this thing has a lot of uses, it's not enough to make our hearts go, let them go." After the woman finished speaking, I was going to do it again. In private room number 4, 2 figures also appeared here. "Father, this is a good thing, we can't let it go." It was Sun Xiong who was just talking to Xiao Yang and the others. As for the middle-aged man in front of him, he also had a big oily belly, and then a pair of with an oily face. He obviously looks like a wealthy person. "Hihi, I told you earlier, it's a troubled time, don't cause me trouble, otherwise." Although he is fat, the middle-aged man is now the head of the Sun family in Xianling City, a powerhouse at the level of an 8-star Dodi, so whether it is to let go nowhere is it to be underestimated. Let them fight for this thing first. Let's wait and see what happens. After the big fat man finished speaking, he closed his eyes and ears and stopped talking. Sun Xiong also snorted coldly, and then stared at the blood rose on the crystal platform. The corners of his mouth moved slightly, and a hint of evil thoughts emerged spontaneously. The background of this blood rose is a bit powerful, so don't mess around. The big fat man also discovered some of his son's other thoughts, and immediately said, I know. Sun Xiong heard the words and said very impatiently, but Sun Xiong still knew that since his father was so instant, then this blood rose was definitely unable to move, and it was worth swallowing the saliva immediately. Everyone can start raising the price, and each price increase must not be less than 5 million. Blood Rose also gave everyone a chance to breathe and discuss after she just said the price. 15 million. In the private room number 1, bids were also slowly made. 20 million. A cold hum also came from private room number 4. This is really a big handwriting. As soon as the shot is made, the price will be increased by 10 million. It seems that it is inevitable. The voice in the number 4 private room also came out. This is forcing the sound into a line. Just the power in this voice. I am afraid that the auctioneer's strength will not be lower than that of the 7-star Do Emperor. Xiao Yang also suddenly discovered. What made Xiao Yang a little depressed was that there seemed to be some other power in this voice, which was like a toxin, but Xiao Yang didn't perceive it carefully. 25 million. A very deep voice also came from private room number 31. 30 million. The senior sister in the private room number 4 seemed to have moved her eyelids slightly, and then opened her mouth. Because the voice in private room number 31 just now had an aura that was quite familiar to her. 40 million. In the private room number 20, a burst of laughter appeared instantly. 50 million. In the private room number 4, there was also a blunt voice. 60 million. The figure in the private room number 31 was also moving. Senior sister, we can't add it anymore, we are here this time for the last thing. The little junior sister on the side said extremely worriedly. 70 million. In the private room number 4, the senior sister was also increasing the price. You won, ha ha ha. The people in private room number 31 also laughed. Bastards, people from the Viper sect, next time you will look good. The auctioneer in the private room number 4 also cursed secretly, and then sat down directly. The people in private room number 4 offered 70 million yuan, but is there anything higher than this? Xue Qiangwei also saw the vigor of the three of them, so she did not speak, but said when no one was raising the price. Since no one has increased the price, then the 9-yin demon insect will be sold at the price of 70 million in the private room number 4. Seeing that no one was increasing the price, Xue Rose directly raised her jade hand, and Wei Wei placed the hammer on the crystal table. Knock down slowly. The final word. This thing will be given to you when the auction ends, so don't worry. Xue Qiangwei seemed to notice some different emotions in the 4th private room, and immediately said, the auction of 70 million yuan seems a bit too expensive. Xiao Yang murmured in private room number 5. Hey, the value of these 9-yin demon insects is far more than 70 million comparable. As long as you get enough venom, the 9-yin demon worm evolves into a 9-eyed demon worm, then it can also be directly absorbed by people as a furnace, thereby increasing its strength. I remember that there was an 8-star Do D human powerhouse who cultivated poisonous fighting chi before, and he broke through the Do Xian with the power of these 9-eyed demon insects. Behind Xiao Yang, on the ancient ruler of Yihua Heng, Long Yi's voice was also it slowly entered Xiao Yang's mind. His grandma's, this is a real loss. Xiao Yang scratched his head when he heard this. Because of this huge venom, Xiao Yang has self-confidence, and it is not difficult to find it. As for absorbing it, Xiao Yang has enough confidence to isolate this venom by virtue of the huge power of soul fire. So when I heard that Long Yi said this, I immediately felt heartache. This is something with infinite potential. I didn't expect that I would have missed it, and I secretly regretted it. After all, these 70 million gold coins are very important for Xiao Yang, a first-rank emperor. For a peak alchemist, it was like a drop in the bucket. Since the first item was also successfully auctioned, then we will proceed with the second item. The next auction is a bit peculiar. The specifics are peculiar, please see. Xue Qiangwei slowly put aside the 9-yin demon worm in her hand, and took it down for other staff to pack it up by special means, and then the crystal platform in front of him flashed, and a huge cage appeared on the dazzling crystal platform in an instant. What it is? That seems to be a person. How did you do it? Isn't the Xianling royal family expressly stipulated that it is illegal to auction humans? Some noisy voices came from many private rooms. What is this? Xiao Yang also stared blankly at the prison on the crystal platform. At this moment, on the dazzling crystal platform, a cage made of silver fighting chi appeared in an instant. Do chi is not a big prison, but it is just enough to imprison a person. In the cage, a human-like woman like a sleeping beauty was also slowly lying in the cage. A silver dress slowly wrapped the skin of the whole body, and then the forehead was also covered by the long. Is that a girl? The next moment, Mu Yingying's beautiful eyes also flickered slightly, and then there was some surprise in her pupils. They're actually imprisoning this human woman, human beings, it's really abominable. Mu Yingying also said viciously in her heart. Everyone, please listen to me. As you can see, Although this girl looks human, she is not human. Because she is the bloodline of the Medusa family and humans. In our Shenling royal family, I am afraid that many people are also aware of the grievances between our Shenling royal family and the Medusa family, so the illegitimate children of these two families are also bullied. So now the owner of this snake woman is also planning to auction it off. But there is something unusual about this woman. After Xue Qiangwei finished speaking, she directly stretched her jade hand into the prison, gently peeled off the woman's length, and raised the girl's face. It seems that she is a little afraid of human beings. The moment the girl touched the Blood Rose's slender hand, her body trembled violently. The next moment, the girl's cute face that looked like a porcelain doll was also exposed in front of everyone. What a nice view. What a delicate girl. This girl is young. If she buys it back and trains her well, maybe. Some noisy and malicious voices also appeared in the private room. It is possible to have such a face at a young age, and I am afraid that it will be very good to grow up in the future. It's actually the 3 eyes of the blue snake. Anyway, you have to get it. There were also evil voices in some private rooms, and there were some other evil meanings in the voices. Everyone, please start increasing the price. After giving these auctioneers some time to think and discuss, Blood Rose slowly raised her hand worth 1,000 gold and jade, and then drank it against the sky. 1 volume of the prescription of the Emperor level 1st grade Shendan. The medicine is called Jotian broken bone marrow. It is a kind of holy medicine for healing, and it also has miraculous effects on broken arms. As long as you take this medicine within 3 days after the broken arm, you will grow an arm that is quite compatible with the original one. Private room number 10 inside, there was a deep voice. I'm really willing. The value of the 1st grade Shendan of the Emperor's ranks is more precious than medicinal pills. Xiao Yan, an alchemist, couldn't help but smack his tongue when he heard this. As a pharmacist, Xiao Yang knows better about the value of prescriptions and medicinal pills. If you want to refine the medicinal herbs, the prescription is the most important thing, and having the medicinal formula together with the medicinal materials is enough to refine the medicinal herbs that make countless people jealous. It can be said unceremoniously that among the 3, prescriptions, medicinal materials and medicinal herbs, only the prescriptions are the most precious. Because whether it is medicinal materials or medicinal pills, they are all one-time use things, but the prescription is different. A roll of high-level prescriptions is enough to make countless generations prosper, which is why the prescriptions are extremely precious. An Emperor rank 1st grade earth pill, a robbery pill, which can greatly reduce the power of the catastrophe when experiencing the 6-star Do Emperor's catastrophe. In the private room on the 14th, there was also a cold snort. Broken tribulation pill? This is a good thing. Even after being soaked in the Shenling Emperor pond, the calamity experienced when breaking through the 6-star Do Emperor should not be underestimated. If you add this robbery pill, you will be very sure. Mu Feng said hotly. Because he also felt right, after experiencing the immersion in the Shenling Emperor pond, some of the black-yellow power that had been received from the Shenling Emperor pond seemed to be lurking in his body, and I was afraid that it would burst out in one fell swoop when he broke through to the 6-star Do Emperor. 1 Emperor rank 1st grade Tiandan, double-patterned yin and yang heart. As we all know, the power of yin and yang is collectively referred to as the power of life and death, and this power of life and death is the symbol of a strong fighting immortal, so as to break through to the level of the 9-star Do Emperor. There was a lazy voice in the number 7 private room, but with the appearance of this thing, countless private rooms were shaking. Double yin and yang heart. This thing actually exists. In the private room number 1, Shenmu's pupils shrank tightly, and he was obviously shocked by this sudden thing. It seems that I have to send someone to stare at this person. Since he dares to come up with such a thing, I am afraid that no one can be trusted without any strength. The old man on the side also became serious, and then said, "It's actually a double-patterned yin-yang heart." Elder Zhu, who was a little lazy by the side, was instantly refreshed when he heard the words. Because only after reaching the 9-star Do D can the power of life and death be born in the body, and the power of life and death is perfectly blended, so it can be called a real Dozian powerhouse. For example, at the half-immortal level like Zhu Lao, the power of life and death in the body is already extremely strong, but it has not been perfectly integrated, and the strength has always been trapped at the half-immortal level. And there is no doubt that if this double-patterned yin and yang heart is obtained, I am afraid that it is not a bad idea to break through the real battle of immortals. This is really a good thing. After old Zhu finished speaking, he also had some plans, but when Xiao Yang was about to speak, he was directly stopped by old Zhu. Let them take pictures, let's get a fisherman to benefit. After Zhu Laro finished speaking, he squinted his eyes and smiled. When Xiao Yang and Mu Yingying heard the words, they also had a stern smile. Obviously, this old Zhu is so sure, really worthy of being a semi-immortal powerhouse. As the powerhouses in the number 7 private room used this double-patterned yin and yang heart, the whole auction room was also boiling. Few people know the terrifying effect of this double-patterned yin-yang heart, but those who can recognize it are undoubtedly not some strong people. At least the strength is also a powerhouse of the 8-star duty level. Keep an eye on the number 7 private room. This time, whoever auctions it must get this pair of yin and yang hearts. A thought echoed in the minds of countless people. In the number 7 auction house, there are 2 figures here. One is a man in white clothes, and the other is a short figure. If it wasn't for the inability to decipher the yin and yang hearts of the 2 patterns, do you think I would take them out? But that's okay, as long as you cultivate with good intentions, you can also use it as a bargaining chip to break through the battle of immortals in the future. At that time, the entire Shen Santian will not be ours. Ha ha ha. Uninhibited laughter permeated the entire private room. Young master, don't be too happy for now. Even if this thing is photographed, how to leave is a big problem. The old man on the side also spoke slowly. This time, I will trouble the elder. The man also calmed down instantly, and then said to the old man, yes. The old man also responded softly, and then stopped talking. But there is still a price increase. Xue Qiangwei also saw that this little girl was able to fetch such a high price, and she was proud of her, and she was also saving her way. This video will end here. That is, by Snake 3 Flower Pupils. Xiao Yang stared at the girl's face tightly. What was surprising was the girl's pair of pupils. Those pupils are quite strange. One is dark brown like a human being. The other one has diamond-shaped pupils covered with 3 colors. This situation is just like the girl named Qinglin who is above Xiao Yang's Doqi Grade 6. This green snake with 3 flowered pupils is the nemesis of all snakes and beasts. Xiao Yang also clearly remembers how terrifying the green snake's 3 flowered pupils are. That was the terrifying pupil that controlled the entire 9 Netherland nether pythons with his own power. As you can see, this girl's natural twin pupils, one is a normal human pupil, and the other one seems to be related to the legendary green snake 3-flowered pupil. Everyone should know about the mysterious effect of the 3-flower eyes of the blue snake. The nemesis of snake monsters. After Blood Rose finished speaking, she also slowly put down her jade hand, because she also felt the girl's fear of her. Because the preciousness of this thing can't be measured by gold coins, the starting price is set for medicinal pills, medicinal herbs, and medicinal materials, or some strange thing. Although everyone increases the price, everything you put out will be evaluated by our Xianling royal family group, and the winner will be finally determined. Xue Qiangwei also smiled slowly, and then Xue Qiangwei also closed her mouth. Because she knows that the next time is when these people will increase the price crazy, I believe that the value of this green snake and 3 flower pupils will definitely be sold for a high price. But is this really the jade snake 3 flower eyes? Why do I feel a little different? Xue Qiangwei also remembered that when she just looked at the girl, she seemed to feel a little something wrong in her body, but it was exactly the same. Can't tell. Bee snake 3 flower eyes. This mysterious royal family's brain was caught by the door. The Xianling royal family and the Medusa family are mortal enemies. If this is really the jade snake 3 flower eyes, I am afraid that the Xianling royal family will cultivate it at all costs. In the future, when the jade snake 3 flower eyes mature, the Medusa family will too. It's a matter of grasping. Mu Feng also scolded directly after hearing the words of Xue Qiangwei. By snake 3 flower eyes. It's a little bit like. I have seen the green snake 3-colored pupil with my own eyes, and I have also fought side by side with the person who has this pupil. It's just that the image this girl gave me is not the green snake 3-colored pupil. There is always something strange. Xiao Yang also thought hard, but no matter how Xiao Yang thought, he couldn't find the abnormality. By snake's 3-flowered pupils, this girl seems to have the same pupils as the blue scales above Doqi Da6, but Xiao Yang can't tell what is wrong. It's right if you can't see it, because this is not the 3-flowered pupil of the snake, but the 3-flowered pupil of the furnace. Elder Zhu on the side also said slowly, Luding Ding San Hua Tong. Xiao Yang frowned when he heard this. Obviously it was the first time he had heard of this unfamiliar name. Hihi, it's normal that I haven't heard of it. I'm afraid there are very few people I know. I was lucky enough to meet them in the desert of death, so I can tell them now. The 3-flowered eyes of the furnace are basically the same as the 3-flowered eyes of the snake, but if you look closely at the 3-flowered eyes of the furnace, you will find that there is a trace of black in the middle of the 3 diamond-shaped lenses in the pupil. The lens, the role of the 3-flowered eyes of the furnace, is exactly the opposite of the 3-flowered eyes of the blue snake. The role of the green snake's 3-flowered pupils is the nemesis of all snake-shaped beasts. As for this cauldron with 3-flowered pupils, it is the favorite of all snake-shaped beasts. In other words, this cauldron with 3 flowers is used as a cauldron to continuously store power, and when it grows to a certain level, it can be swallowed by the snake-shaped beast, thus greatly increasing its strength. It's just that this thing is only useful for snake-shaped beasts, and the method is quite cruel, so it restricts its potential. Elder Zhu also spoke slowly, but his voice was also full of displeasure. Obviously, although this girl is the illegitimate child of humans and the Medusa family, she cannot be auctioned off. Xiao Yang, we must get her. We must not let her fall into the wrong hands. Mu Yingying also turned her head, her beautiful eyes moved slightly, and said firmly to Xiao Yang. Yes. Xiao Yang also responded. This is the blue snake with 3 flower pupils. In the private room number 1, Shen Mu also stopped because he had only competed with the 9-yin demon worm once before. Father, are they dizzy? Shen Mu was immediately surprised, his pupils staring at the woman on the crystal platform. Obviously, how could such a precious thing be put up for auction? Prince, don't be impatient. Wang, there is a reason for doing so naturally. It's better that we don't touch this thing. The old man beside Xuanmu also said slowly. Although he doesn't know why, his intuition tells him that this is not the 3-colored eyes of the blue snake, but not everyone has the eyesight of the old bamboo, so he can see this thing.